I don't want World War III to happen. We have an American journalist by the name of Tucker Carlson who went down to Moscow to interview Putin to find out why did he invade Ukraine in the first place. Do I trust Putin? No, I don't be trusting these foreign leaders. But this man is in charge of a country that has the most nuclear warheads, so at the very least, I'd like to hear what he has to say.
Now, about NATO's expansion to the east. Well, we were promised no NATO to the east, not an inch to the east, as we were told. And then what? They said, well, it's not enshrined and we'll expand. So there were 5 waves of expansion, the Baltic states, the whole of Eastern Europe, and so on. And now I come to the main thing. They have come to the Ukraine, ultimately. In 2008, at the summit in Bucharest, they declared that the doors for Ukraine and Georgia to join NATO were open. And by the way, it says that Ukraine is a neutral state, and in 2008, suddenly the doors or gates to NATO were open to it. Oh, come on. This is not how we agreed.
What was the trigger for you? What was the moment where you decided you had to do this?
Initially, it was the coup in Ukraine that provoked the conflict. But when we read through the Treaty of Association, it turned out to be a problem for us, since we had a free trade zone and open customs borders with Ukraine, which under this association had to open its borders for Europe, which could have led to flooding of our market. We said, no, this is not going to work. We shall close our borders with Ukraine then. The customs borders, that is. Yanukovych started to calculate how much Ukraine was going to gain, how much to lose, and said to his European partners, I need more time to think before signing. The moment he said that, the opposition began to take destructive steps, which were supported by the West. So, in 2008, the doors of NATO were opened for Ukraine. In 2014, there was a coup. They started persecuting those who did not accept the coup. And it was indeed a coup. They created a threat to Crimea, which we had to take under our protection. They launched a war in Donbass in 2014 with the use of aircraft and artillery against civilians. This is when it all started. There's a video of aircraft attacking Donetsk from above. They launched a large-scale military operation, then another one. When they failed, they started to prepare the next one. All this against the background of military development of this territory and opening of NATO's doors. It's just that the US political leadership pushed us to the line we could not cross, because doing so could have ruined Russia itself. Why the victims? Why threatening Crimea? Why launching an operation in Donbass? This I do not understand. CIA did its job to complete the coup. I think one of the deputy secretaries of state said that it cost a large sum of money, almost 5 billion. But the political mistake was colossal. Why would they have to do that? All this could have been done legally, without victims, without military action, without losing Crimea. We would have never considered to even lift a finger if it hadn't been for the bloody developments on Maidan, because we agreed with the fact that after the collapse of the Soviet Union, our borders should be along the borders of former Union's republics. We agreed to that, but we never agreed to NATO's expansion, and moreover, we never agreed that Ukraine would be in NATO. We did not agree to NATO bases there without any discussion with us. For decades, we kept asking, don't do this, don't do that. They simply led us by the nose.
Was there anyone for you to talk to? Did you call a US President, Secretary of State and say, if you keep militarizing Ukraine with NATO forces, this is going to get, we're going to act?
We talked about this all the time. We addressed the United States and European countries' leadership to stop these developments immediately. No, nobody wanted that. Everybody wanted to resolve the issue by military force only. But we could not let that happen. And the situation got to the point when the Ukrainian side announced, no, we will not do anything. They also started preparing for military action. It was they who started the war in 2014. Our goal is to stop this war. And we did not start this war in 2022. This is an attempt to stop it.
So the two main reasons on why he invaded Ukraine. 1, NATO's expansion. wanting to include Ukraine and Georgia into NATO, right by their borders. And 2, the coup d'etat that happened in Ukraine, the overthrow of the government. So 1, NATO expansion. I want you to visualize this. Remember during the Cold War, when Russia was putting missiles in Cuba, we were pissed because Florida is right there. So imagine how he feels right now that we're trying to put in missiles and weapons and all in a neutral state in Ukraine. And 2, the coup d'etat. 2010 and 2014, there was a president in Ukraine by the name of Viktor Yanukovych. He wanted to open up the borders for the EU so they could do free trade. Now, Russia went to Viktor and said, Viktor, if you do this, this is going to hurt our economy, our free economy, our free market. So Viktor said, you know what? All right, I'm going to side with Russia. And once he did that, a coup d'etat happened. A coup d'etat is a planned, violent overthrow of a government, and Putin said that the CIA was involved in it. The CIA is involved in a lot of coup d'etat. Were they involved in this one? I'll let you decide this by watching this documentary that I'm going to leave in the description that you need to see. It's called Ukraine on Fire. It explains all of this. Not going to get into it all right now. The question right now, though, is, do you feel this is all smoke being blown up our asses? Or do you think there's some truth to what he's saying right now? And there's some level of hatred that the United States have against Russia, which is why we're not getting anywhere with a resolution. Let me know in the comment section.